Jesse Winker back to the Mets. They liked him a lot. 1 year, about $8 million is what it sounds like. The more interesting part here also comes from Andy Martino, who covers the Mets for SNY. He just tweeted, the Mets have pivoted to plan B post Alonso. They now consider it the most likely outcome that Alonso will sign elsewhere. They add Winker and will add a reliever, possibly a top one. Thoughts on both?
Good for Winker. We need to get him on. He's an Orlando guy, so we need to.
How have we not had him on? He's very fun.
He is very fun. I don't know. We're going to have to get a hold of him, get him to come on. I mean, he could sit where you are, and we could lose you.
He's here right now, right? Mm-hmm. He's in Orlando, probably.
He's around here somewhere.
We're going to work on that.
It's cold. He's probably inside.
True.
But, yeah, I love this for Winker. He's back to a place he was comfortable. He did really well for the Mets last year, especially, obviously once he got there. And then for the Alonso news, again, is this posturing? Jesse Winker signing shouldn't affect the Pete Alonso signing. Different positions, not the same amount of money. Shouldn't change much. I just think that somebody in Pete's camp, I don't know, man. This is a weird one to me because why is Pete Alonso just not a Met already? It doesn't make sense why he's not a Met.
It does make sense. It's called a contract, and two sides have to agree to it.
I know. I know what it means, but I don't understand.
We're going to find out. We're going to find out what the offer was and why he potentially ended up elsewhere. But first, Winker back to the Mets. I mean, Kratz, he had a couple rough years. He was like that game, Operation, where it was like almost everything was banged up. And if you look at the numbers before 22-23, they were really good. He was always a bat. It's not much of a defender, but he's a bat. Mm-hmm. And then he was back, especially with the Mets. And in the playoffs at one point, that was my number one gripe. They weren't playing him consistently. Remember that? And I was like, if you're watching Jesse Winker's at bats right now, he is locked in as hell, giving you quality AB after quality AB. And then they fixed it, but a little bit too late. Not that that was the decision that killed it, but it's just a good sign that he looked like the hitter we saw in 2019, 2021, etc.
If that was one of my gripes from Carlos Mendoza, the manager didn't make that adjustment. Going with what had worked most of the year with Winker. I mean, you look at his numbers, how he was used. I think he had a better year with the Nats than he did with the Mets. So he's kind of he's a guy who controls the zone really well. And I think when you don't get enough at bats or you're not getting enough consistent at bats against the same sided pitchers, you start to lose some of your zone discipline. But what he did last year for this team, I love this. This is what teams like the Pirates added Jesse Winker, and they're like, oh, well, this is our signing. Teams like the Mets add Jesse Winker, and they're like, he's just another piece. He's another piece to this organization. And I think throughout his career, he's shown that that's when he's most successful.
Mm-hmm. But where was he going to play with the Mets? I mean, they have an outfield. They already had an outfield, so he's not going to play center field, right? Because they have
first base.
Well, this year he might, but I'm talking about when Kratz was talking about he didn't get much playing time. Well, guess what? Marte, Nimmo, McNeil had to find something when he came back.
This year, Soto.
Yeah. I mean, where's his at-bats coming?
DH.
That's where it's going to have to come. He's going to have to learn to play first base and be a DH.
Yeah.
Because if they do move Vientos to first, like they're talking about, and let Beatty play third,
DH.
It's
a good DH.
But they also want to use Marte to save his legs. They'll use Nimmo out there to save his legs. They have McNeil. Where's McNeil going to play? Right? Because their center fielders are who?
Nimmo.
Okay. If he doesn't play left. Nimmo played a lot of left last year.
Yeah. And
they used Taylor, right? Tyrone Taylor.
And Bader's a free agent.
Yeah, Bader's a free agent. But didn't they use Tyrone Taylor out there in the playoffs last year?
They used some Tyrone Taylor. Yeah. Oh, and wait, we're forgetting someone because he was acquired.
Oh,
Ready?
Siri.
Jose Siri, baby.
Yeah, so where's Winker going to play?
Winker's not an outfielder anymore for me.
But I was talking about even last year, where was he going to play?
DH. It's DH.
That's what he did, but he couldn't get at bats because they had other guys that had to DH. Yeah. See, it's tough.
He'll mix in for DH.
He's a bench guy now. He's become a bench guy. And I'll tell you a great Jesse Winker story.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about his defense one time. A buddy of mine told me this. He's obviously from the area. He was talking to the high school team, a local one, about outfield defense. He goes, my outfield defense is catch the ones that are hit to me, and if it goes by me, get it to the cutoff man as soon as possible. And I was like, that is the best summarization of an outfielder I have ever heard. Catch the ones that you can get to, and if it goes by you, Get it to the cutoff man as soon as possible. Boom. Great defense.
And now
Kids were definitely swimming on that when they were like, "What? You mean I don't have to work on my drop step? And coach said I have to, do all the catch the ball, throw it into the cutoff man."
Also, be a hitter like Jesse Winker, and it changes a lot of things.
Well,
That's
of course, but
he's a bat. His position is
But
bat.
he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was supposed to do.
Yes.
Catch the ones that are hit, swing the bat, and get it to the key to that is get it to the cutoff man as soon as possible.
I think the key for him is keep it simple in the outfield if you're out there. But he's not going to get outfield time for the most part, in my mind. I mean, maybe a spare outfield, day or two here and there, but that's not his thing. And I will point out for the Mets in the playoffs, especially the big series, the NLCS. So he was 5 for 13 and 5 walks, 579 on base. He was great in that series for the Mets against the Dodgers when many other guys were up and down. And he should have played more.
He's a gnat, too. He just annoys the hell out of it.
He does, right. He's got that villain role.
Got that
he embraces
he lived it up this postseason.
Because he said he hates Milwaukee.
In the second half.
Yeah, he had a bad time in Milwaukee.
Oh, when they played Milwaukee, he was unbelievable.
Yeah,
in the DS when he hit when Pete hit the home run, and remember he hit the home run. He was running on the bases, yelling at
Adames, right?
Yeah, remember him and Adames got into it, or he hit a triple. Whatever he did, that was unbelievable. Hit the triple, and he's running, yelling at Adames.
Yeah,
I mean, that's kind of his thing. It's
Winker, Siri, and Genesis Cabrera. Mike said Mets are going to get in some brawls in 2025. Hey, keeps the offseason exciting.
Get you excited.
Yeah. So anyway, nice move for them. And yes, Kratz is right. He wasn't as good. Although it was small sample size with the Mets as he was with the Nats, but overall in the regular season. But overall, I mean, he had a 118 OPS plus. League average is 100, 360 on base percentage this past season in his 430 at bats.
Yeah,
that plays.
He had a nice year.
Yeah, he had a nice year. Good for him. And obviously,
what did he get? How much did he get?
1 year, $8 million.
Oh, then he's not going to be a bench guy. He's going to play.
He's going to play. Yeah. But the big story here is also the aftermath.
$8 million. He's going to play. Maybe they use him and Marte as a platoon guy. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, right now, Fangraphs, quick here, lineup. Lindor, Soto, Vientos, they have at first. Nimmo, Starling, DH, McNeil, Francisco Alvarez, Beatty at third, Siri in center field hitting last. So, yeah, Starling and him, DH, right?
Okay. Yeah, they probably split time.
Yeah.
Because Soto's going to play right?
Yeah, those are your lefty-righty bats. Starling can play some outfield, but he can also mix in DH time, and there's your
Who did they have playing
platoon.
center? Nimmo?
Yes.
And McNeil in left?
Sorry, Nimmo in left, and Siri in center.
Siri in center. Okay.
And Soto in right.
Okay.
Yeah, so interesting. And
it's going to be interesting to see how they get at-bats for a lot. Because Starling Marte is going to be a free agent, I think, at the end of this year. He's going to want his at-bats.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting to see how Mendy – guess what, Mendy? Guess what? Now you have expectations. Now the job gets hard.
Yeah, Mets want to be the Dodgers. You build depth. So good for them. Good signing for them.